What is going on, everybody? Strategic Operative here. Today I want to be talking about the operation of crits in Star Wars Armada. Crits are sometimes very confusing learning the mode of operation for them because they're just overlaid and compact with so many different rules and plus cards on top of it to trigger different crits in different ways and effect. So we're going to talk a little bit how to treat crits when you roll an attack. Now there's different critical effects you can use. You have your black crits, which are going to be used with ACMs or your assault proton torpedoes. Your blue crits are going to be used with the NK7 ion cannon, the heavy ion emplacement, or the overload pulse. Now there's a few other ones, but for the demo here I just want to be showing a few of the variances here. As of yet, there is no red crit cards in this game thus far. I expect that we'll see some, possibly with the Onager and the Starhawk expansions. I'm really excited about those. But let's talk about rolling crit. So when you roll a crit and you have a specific card, you automatically, before you play anything else, you trigger that effect. So if you're gonna roll your Pulse Overload, and you roll a blue crit, you're gonna instantly trigger that crit's effect. And this one, it says exhaust all the defender's defense tokens. So you would actually trigger that effect right then and there. The only way they can stop that is with Damage Control Officer. And they have to have Damage Control Officer and spend their defense contain token. Now, this is critical because this exhausts all of their tokens before the attack. So before you round up all of your dice, you're going to trigger the effect first. That's an important aspect that people forget in the game. Also, once you trigger the effect, this does not just disappear. A critical effect is a hit plus something special that happens. So when you play the critical effect, it helps new players if you just flip it to a hit to still add that dice to your attack pool. So if you rolled, let's say if you rolled 2 black, 1 red, and a blue, and you got that total, you got 1 crit, and you had Overload Pulse, you would trigger Overload Pulse before anything else. If they had Damage Control Officer, they could stop it, but let's say they don't for this example. All their exhaust all of their defense tokens. Now all their defense tokens are exhausted, and you can now use 3 hits that are coming at them from whatever hull you just attacked from. If you have Ordnance Experts, you can re-roll your black, you can do whatever. But that is the overall concept of crits that sometimes people forget. Number one, that it triggers right then and there. And also, once you use the crit, it becomes a hit at that point. Everything else, it's pretty simple. Same thing when you use ACMs, Assault Concussion Missiles. You're going to play that first. The only way that they can stop it is using the Contain. And afterward, it's just going to be almost like a double. 2 hits once you use the critical effect. You only can use 1 critical effect per roll, unless you have Fire Control Team, where you can actually use 2 critical effects at that point. So I hope this was just a good reminder, and if you learned something, that's great. If it was just a reminder, that's awesome as well, of how to use critical effects within the game as of now.